Hello and welcome to Political Aficionado. I'm your host, Ehsan Safarnejad. As you know, very recently there were series of protests slash riots inside Iran, uh, which the world can't really stop talking about. I was invited to a number of shows which I had to cancel because of my poor internet connection. So I decided to record this video and address things. Unfortunately, I can't really answer questions. I can't go on live shows because of the packet loss and the lag and the rubber banding. But I try to basically answer as many questions as I think people have. And a number of questions that I have received in my direct messages on different socials. Hopefully this video would be educational for the people who are interested to know what's happening inside Iran. This video is a little bit late, I know that, but considering the recent threats made by US President Donald J. Trump, I think that it's important to debunk some of these talking points and propagandas that have been disseminated by United States and Israeli troll farms and Hasbara, basically. I think that it is very important to address these talking points because the upcoming war will likely be waged under the basis of these lies. And well, it would be nice if we can debunk some of them. I've put on, rather a significant amount of time in making this video, so I would really appreciate it that if you like the content that you're seeing in this video, take a moment, comment, like, and possibly even share it on your personal social media account and get this video to as wide of an audience as you possibly can, due to the reasons which I mentioned earlier on. So without further ado, let's start, and hopefully again this video would be complete, comprehensive, and I will be able to address as many propagandas and as many talking points as I can in this video. So let's go. First of all, let's start by mentioning the chronology of the events that happened. The protests started late December 2025, and they started very peacefully by the bazaris inside Iran. Their grievance, their demands were really understandable. Basically there were a series of demands that they had, mostly concerning the bad economic situation in Iran. One of the key demands that they had was a stabilization of the Iranian currency. You see, if you import products and goods in Iran and you want to sell them, you can't really maintain a business if the Iranian currency keeps devaluating against dollars. Imagine you importing smartphones, clocks, electronics, and so on and so forth, and you're going to sell it to your customer. Your customer is going to pay you in Iranian rial. If Iranian rial keeps devaluating, then you won't be able to basically purchase what you already sold your customer, and you won't be able to import it in the country. So basically you can't maintain your business. So the protests were genuine. Their demands were understandable and reasonable, and that's why different figures inside Iran, the Iranian supreme leader, the Iranian president, head of the judiciary branch, and other high-ranking officials acknowledge the genuine grievances that the Bazaris had. And the Bazaris, to their credit, they were very peaceful. There were even these attempts by agent provocateurs in order to derail the initial protests, which the Bazaris handled. There is this one video that a girl is going into the camp of Bazaris, and she's basically trying to provoke them to go to the streets and burn things, start destroying public properties. But the Bazaris, they kick her out, saying that we don't even know who you are, why are you doing this, we have genuine demands, you're trying to derail the protests. So they did the protest, they held the protests very professionally. But as the protests metastasized and people in different cities of Iran started protesting, because it wasn't solely limited to the Bazaris, other people started to infiltrate the crowd of protesters. So the protests started to become slightly violent, but everything was mostly fine until January 7th, the night of January 7th, and the events that happened in the city of Mashhad. That night we saw very end of the times like scenes coming out of Mashhad, and the next day, in the Thursday 8th, things even became more chaotic. That's when the Iranian government started restricting the access to the internet, and you had the internet blackout. And the next day also, Friday, was also a very tough day for the Iranian security apparatus. So these 3 days, these 2 days and the night of Wednesday, they were mostly the main days and nights that we saw, we received these scenes. So most of the stats, the numbers, the scenes that you see are from these 3 days, right? For about 2 weeks, there was a wide internet blackout inside Iran, and we didn't really have access to the internet. Even now that I'm talking to you, that internet is kind of restored. There is still a lot of limitations. There's the problem with your ping, your packet loss, so on and so forth. So you don't really have a stable connection inside Iran. So this is the basic chronology of what happened. But now let's move on and talk about how did the protests became violent. Was there or wasn't there any foreign element that actually derailed the genuine protests that the Iranians have? And obviously during the protests they were trying to make their voices heard by the government. And let's talk about the hypocrisy of the West. Let's talk about some of the scenes that came out, the death toll, the propaganda that is being disseminated by mostly the Israeli media and also the mainstream media. Let's go and start with what I do consider as the basically unequivocal admission of guilt. I mean, this is something that if you mention to other people, they're basically going to accuse you of repeating the talking point of the Iranian media, but and the mullah regime's propaganda or whatever. But here you can see, it's a tweet of mine. I said admission of guilt, Mossad's official Farsi language account has shamelessly stated that their operatives are present on the ground in the protests, and as you can see, this is basically the built-in option of Grok that X that I have used in order to translate the tweet of this account. There is it says, "Let's come out to the streets together. The time has come. We are with you, not just from afar and verbally." This is very important because some people try to say that, oh, this is a spiritual comment. No, they made sure to make it unequivocally clear to everyone that it's not just in rhetoric, but they said that we are with you in the field as well. Similar comments were made by former Secretary of State, former Director of CIA Mike Pompeo, and they basically acknowledged the presence of the Israelis in the protests. Some people I've seen that they have mentioned that this is not the official account of Mossad in Farsi. This is the first tweet by this account. This person whom you're seeing in the video is called Menashe Amir. Let's listen to what he says.
درود بر همگان. من منشه امیر هستم. خیلی خرسندم که از جانب موساد، سرویس امنیت خارجی و وظایف ویژه اسرائیل درخواست شد که من این پیام رو به آگاهی شما برسانم. ببینید، شما بهتر از من آگاهی دارید که در هفته‌های اخیر در ایران چه گذشته، در اسرائیل و خاورمیانه چه گذشته.
So basically he said that he has been reached out to by Israeli Secret Intelligence Service Mossad in order to basically start this account so that Iranians would be able to have a channel of communication so that they would be able to communicate with Mossad and basically volunteer in order to perform what I can only describe as acts of sabotage. This video was first published on this channel, which makes it legitimate. This is the official account of Mossad in Farsi, and before anyone making the claim that this person is a clown or other talking points that we have been hearing from Hasbara, Menashe Amir, this is by the way from his Wikipedia page. Naftali Bennett said that they control Wikipedia, they edit, publish articles on this website, so this is not coming from the mullah regime, so to speak. Menashe Amir is a long-time Persian language broadcaster on Israeli Radio International, a channel of called Yitzrael, literally a voice of Israel. He's a former head of the Israeli Broadcasting Authority's Persian language division. He is a former chief editor of the Foreign Ministry's Persian website. So this is not a cook. This is someone trusted by the Israeli regime officials. But this is not the only basically admission of guilt by the Israelis. This is another tweet by me. So the former permanent representative of Israel to UN complains about official statements of Mossad being involved in Persian protests. Let's watch.
שגריר לשעבר ארדן, התחושה היא שאין בישראל מישהו שבאמת מנהל את האירוע הזה. אנחנו חושבים כל מיני התבטאויות, לפעמים גם חסרות אחריות, על מה ישראל צריכה לעשות, אמורה לעשות.
כן, אז אני חושב שעוד פעם אנחנו עושים טעות בהתייחסות. כמובן באולפנים צריך לדון בזה, אבל באופן רשמי, החשבונות הרשמיים של משרד החוץ ועוד, שלצערי כבר התבטאו.
So, as you can see, he says that these things should be mentioned on TV networks, but they shouldn't be mentioned by official accounts. and by other officials inside Israel. And basically his whole argument is that we should maintain the plausible deniability. That's what he's advocating. He's not saying that Israel shouldn't interfere in the affairs of other countries. His grievance with the officials in Israel, the war criminals, is that they are admitting that they are involved in these protests. Obviously, on I-24 News, there was another admission of guilt by, the journalist there. I'm not going to actually play each and every one of these videos. You guys can just simply go to my account and play them for yourself. I have limitations with regards to the amount of file that I can upload on the internet, so I would hope that you guys would forgive me for this. This is not out of being lazy. This is due to the technical limitation. Yet another video. This one is by Seema Shine. She was former director of research program Iran and Shia Axis at INSS think tank that is affiliated with Tel Aviv University. Again, she makes the same complaint that Israel shouldn't really admit that it is involved in the riots inside Iran. So let me see. One final thing, and this is basically the tweet that was not the tweet, the post on Truth Social by Donald J. Trump, U.S. President, and he's basically publishing the messages between him and French President Emmanuel Macron. You can see this, in these screenshots, that he says, "My friend, we are totally in line on Syria," is referring to supporting former head of Al-Qaeda in Syria, Abu Muhammad al-Jolani, who is now rebranded and is, the democratic president of Syria. We can do great things on Iran. And when he says we can do great things on Iran, he's basically referring to his willingness and his interest in basically repeating the model the model that they pursued in Syria, this time in Iran. So this is about the Israeli influence in the riots that you saw in Iran. But it wasn't just the Israeli secret intelligence service. We also saw the Kurds doing their parts. This is basically the article published by Euronews, as you can see, and they basically say, let me show you guys the headline. It says, "Claim of Kurdistan Freedom Party." In Kurdish, it would be Parti Azadi Kurdistan, PAK. حملات سپاه به معترضین را با عملیات مسلحانه در خاک ایران پاسخ دادیم, which means that we retaliated to the IRGC attacks by carrying out armed operations within the Iranian soil. This is by Euronews. This is not by me. This is not by the Iranian government. This is not a mullah regime talking point. This is coming out of a mainstream media outlet. But being hypocrites and complicit in the riots, in the murders, in the wars that the United States and the Empire wages on different countries, they try to whitewash it. Obviously, this group is located and situated inside Iraq. So for them to carry out armed operations inside Iran, first of all, I think that when we talk about armed operations, we can basically safely say that these do not constitute as peaceful protests. But what's even worse is that this party is situated in Iraq, which means that they crossed the border, they entered the Iranian soil, and what you saw, some of the scenes that you saw on social media of people carrying out guns and the masked men, the assailants who were carrying out military operations, as they put it, but let's be honest, acts of terrorism, they actually belong to this group. So they entered the Iranian soil and they carried out their so-called operation. Obviously, despite the fact that they themselves claim this that they have crossed the border and they have carried out armed operations against Iran, you still see mainstream media both publishing their claims and at the same time telling you that this is a mullah regime talking point when they say that Israel, Mossad, Kurdish separatists situated in Iraq, MEK, they were involved in the protest. By the way, MEK was also involved in the protests, so-called peaceful protests, but we're going to later on look at their statements and discuss what they say. They actually claim that they had more than 300 what they call martyrs, terrorists who were killed. 324, if I remember correctly. I actually have that ready in the slides, so we're going to later on see the actual number. This is a tweet by Mr. Khashayar with the Twitter handle Xerxes. He talks about this person, Nabaz, which means Shekast Napazir, someone who can't be defeated, invincible, or whatever. And basically he was the main person responsible for carrying out the logistics and guiding the people in Iran and basically transferring explosive material. You can see here he says Mawad Munfajira, which means explosive material, and Starlink to Iran. This person is neutralized by the Iranian security forces. So again, yet another acts of foreign interference in Iran. Current Report also published this story about this individual, and unrelated, but Alan MacLeod, apologies for mispronouncing his name, but he has a fantastic article that you guys can read. It's about the CIA linked in NGOs, so-called NGOs, that are involved in fueling the riots inside Iran. So yeah, very clear, and not just by the Iranian forces, but by the admission of other parties that there were foreign elements involved in the protests inside Iran. Now, you have to understand, this is very important, this part is very important. Some people might argue, and I don't think that this is an argument that is legitimate, but for the sake of entertaining and humoring them, let's address this. What would you do when a government is actively refusing to hear your voice? Their argument, which anywhere else in the world would be considered as inciting violence, and we know how countries like United States, France, Germany, United Kingdom, Australia even, treat people who incite violence. I mean, I've seen a video of the Australian police performing a suplex on a person just because he or she, I don't remember the gender of the person, but they performed the suplex on the person because she refused to social distance or get the vaccine. I don't exactly remember, but that's how they operate when it comes to enforcing their law. But again, going back, because Iran is an exception, armed insurgency, armed riots is illegal anywhere else but apparently Iran. So let's entertain the argument, and let's basically see some of the statements made by the Iranian officials, in which they actually mention that they recognize the right of Iranian people to peacefully protest. This is a tweet by Propaganda and Co. He is taking a screenshot of this Iranian journalist, a good friend of mine called Arya. His profile at the moment is private. I think that they're trying to dox him. I specifically mentioned this so that you guys know that these people are behaving this way outside of the Iranian border. They're violating the laws of the Western countries. These people are very dangerous. But anyway, going back to our main topic, Iranian president. We are working hard to solve the problems of the people who have protested. We're working with unions and economic authorities to solve their problems. But protests are different from riots. Those who are killing people with weapons, those are burning the bazaars, burning policemen alive. These are not Iranians. I ask people not to allow these individuals to take advantage of their cause. Don't allow them to disrupt the society. The Iranian president on different occasions has acknowledged that people have the right to peacefully protest. This is yet another tweet by Arya. He's quoting head of the judiciary, Mr. Ajay. He says, "We will support and listen to the protesters, not rioters." Again, another statement. Let's see. This one is a statement by the Iranian Supreme Leader. The full tweet is not visible in the screenshot. Later in his statement, the Iranian leader is also acknowledging the legitimate grievance of the Iranian businessmen in the bazaar, and he is actually mentioning how they are right. They have the right to protest. And just one final video, because before we wrap this part up, let's see this video. This is a video of the Iranian police officers escorting the protesters. They are walking shoulder to shoulder with the protesters. Let's see them. Let's see the video. And by the way, the date is also very important. As you mentioned, I stated that 7th of January was when the night of 7th of January was when the protests turned violent, and they actually turned into riots. Let's watch this video. Look, this person here walking in front of basically everyone else is I think he's IRGC officer. I'm not sure. He might be either from police or IRGC officer. I can't see the emblem, unfortunately. I think that he's from the police, regardless. I think that he's police officer. But look at this scene again. This is police. The emblem on the hat belongs to the police, not to the IRGC. Another police officer, you can see again, he's laughing. This person's laughing. He's a police officer. And they are walking beside, shoulder to shoulder, of the Iranian protesters, because guess what? the members of the police force are amongst the people who make, I don't want to say minimum wage, but they're really, in the lower echelon of salaries inside Iran. So they completely understand the legitimate grievances of the Iranian people when it comes to basically protesting and making the grievance known to the public, to the government. So they're not the ones who actually go and try to basically crack down on other people. They're not. They're actually, this is a scene that you might not see on social media or by the basically mainstream media, but let's look at this video. Okay, as you can see, they're trying to basically put out this fire that the so-called peaceful protesters started in order to burn this car. One thing that is very important in this video is the fact that this is a very low model car. It's called Pride in Iran, but if you're actually driving a Pride, the only thing that you don't have is Pride, because we joke around. We say that this is a death wagon. We say that this is a death wagon. If you hit anything, basically, you're gonna be killed, right? And by the way, this is the hatchback version. I mentioned this because there's also another video of a Pride being burned that I have in the slides, and I think that you will probably see the Israelis saying, "Oh, he said that this car is Pride, and now he's saying this other car is a Pride." So there is discrepancy amongst what he says, but no, it's the hatchback version. The other one will be the one that has a trunk. So this so far I think that we have talked about the admission of guilt by the Israeli forces, and we also have mentioned how the Iranian government acknowledges the rights of its civilians to peacefully protest the bad economic situation. I think that now would be a good time to talk about how there were acknowledgement by these so-called protesters on social media that they are armed. And I will later on forget about it. Let's do it right now, because I might forget. So there is a reason that Mossad talks about these protesters having the support of Mossad operatives in the streets. There is a reason why they publish the videos of armed assailants on social media. And it's very simple. The Israeli regime's plan during the 12-day war was simple. We're going to start a war against Iran. We're going to carry out an operation, suppression of enemy air defense systems, and then we're going to assassinate the heads of the state inside Iran, carry out a series of decapitation strikes in Iran. And once we do it, and once we bomb the Iranian state-owned broadcasting company, TV network, people are going to see that the regime is falling, or at least they're gonna perceive it that way. And then you can have people from within Iran overthrow the government, which would legitimize our strikes. And then you also will see the terrorists from western parts of Iran. We refer to the Kurdish separatist groups, Kurdistan Freedom Party, Komoleh, Pejag, all these groups will enter Iran from the western border, from southeastern border, Baluch separatists would enter Iran, and we're gonna balkanize the country, we're gonna destroy it completely. That model failed because suddenly you had this overwhelming support of the Iranian government, the Iranian establishment in general, by the average Iranians. Many of the attempts that were foiled during the 12-day war by the Iranian security apparatus were only made possible because of the tips that were given to the government by the average Iranians. The Iranian security apparatus put out these a series of 3-digit numbers linked to the intelligence apparatus inside Iran. One of them would get you a call to the Ministry of Intelligence and Security. The other one would basically be dedicated to IRGC intelligence service and police intelligence service, so on and so forth. And that's how Iranian people actually foiled the Israeli attempt. But this time, rather than going 1, 2, 3, 4, in the order of the plan that they had, this time they decided that they should they should start the protests inside Iran, and then carry out their attacks on the Iranian security forces and start an outright war, an all-out war against Iran. Obviously, the threats by the US President Donald J. Trump makes this theory much more credible. But that's what they decided to do, right? And the reason that they are saying that they're public, going back to the original question that I asked, the reason that they need to do this is to encourage people to come to the streets. When I say people, I actually mean armed colluders, the people who are actually involved and collaborating with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service, Mossad. They need to give them encouragement. They need to give encouragement to the Kurdish terrorist groups that are situated in western parts of Iran. They need to do this. And if you remember, there was a period of time that you would see all these videos that were generated by AI, or some of them belong to people who actually rented a costume and they pretended to be members of the Iranian military, and they would say they have defected from the Iranian military to the Pahlavi regime. They pledge allegiance to Pahlavi. So they created this perception in the minds of their supporters that the Iranian security apparatus is weak. Then they promised them that they're gonna bomb Iran, they're gonna be walking in the streets shoulder to shoulder with the Iranian protesters, rioters, actually the terrorists inside Iran who are colluding against their own country with the enemy that bombed their country during the 12-day war. They needed to do these things in order to encourage them. Many people who are now suffering consequences of actually believing the promises of the West are now jailed. Some of them had to basically flee the country. There was this Iranian university professor, Sharif Zarchi, if I remember his name correctly. He fled to China, and he had an interview with one of these British TV networks in which he says, Donald Trump promised us that he would bomb Iran. So that's the reason that they had to acknowledge that the rioters are armed. But now, just like anything else, the Israeli propaganda is very simple in a way. They use the same method, they use the same playbook over and over and over again. They have to be the saints and the sinners. They have to show you how cruel they can be in order to impose deterrence on the enemy, but at the same time they're also victims. This is another tweet by Mr. Mehdi Nikhah. He says, calling people and youth to riot and armed clashes with law enforcement forces by thugs and with a history of conviction and imprisonment. And he has a point there. As you can see, this is a video of this man in a sort of military uniform. He has an assault rifle in his hand. He speaks in Farsi, but he basically says he wants people to come to the streets and carry out acts of sabotage. They want to riot, and he actually draws an analogy. He says during the war of Iran with Iraq, the defense of Iran against the Saddam's regime invasion, the people who were head of the military, they weren't really old. And he's basically trying to encourage the youth to come to the streets. I don't know if I should play this video because he speaks in Farsi, but just for the sake of documentation, I'm gonna play a little bit of it so that the people who are speaking Farsi or know Farsi would see what he says.
امشب میخوام یه خواهشی از مردم داشته باشم، فقط مردم و جوونا. بابا جوونایی که توی جنگ رفتن مگه چند سالشون بود؟
This is exactly the part he says. The youth who went to war, how old were they? And he is basically encouraging the young people to come to the streets being armed. And he actually talks about how he and his friends, they're going to fight the Iranian security forces. This is another video. I have things to say about this one. Let's watch this.
That they would like to take credit, or at least partial credit, for this. There are other groups that are.
So is this report of Israeli bullets found in Iranian children a lie to deflect blame and legitimize this terrible action against dissent? Or does it expose something much darker, a foreign intel attempt at turning anger into armed insurgency regardless of the human cost? Joining us now, editor of the Gray Zone News, Max Blumenthal. Max, I was skeptical when I saw these claims that Israeli bullets were found in Iranian children. What do you make of the report?
Well, whether an Israeli bullet was found or not, there are also reports of Soviet-era bullets that have never been used in the Iranian military before. And more than that, you have Israel's Mossad on its official Farsi Twitter X channel telling Iranians at the onset of these protests, before they morphed into violent regime change riots, that they were walking alongside them, that there were Mossad assets in the protests. This was also repeated by former CIA director and ex-Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who said Mossad agents are walking beside you to Iranian protesters. And it was repeated on Israel's Channel 14, a pro-Netanyahu channel, by the Israeli correspondent Tamir Morag, who said that not only are Mossad agents active, but they are funneling weapons into these riots and are responsible, in his words, for the many body bags that are piling up in Iranian morgues. And
so what's the evidence of that, Max? Like, what is the evidence you've reviewed that Mossad agents, who, you're right, I mean, a lot of people have been suggesting they were out there involved, were increasing the violence and the acuity of death?
Well, the evidence is that they've said so, that they would like to take credit.
Please notice his face right after Matt Getz, whatever, asked him that question. He said, well, the evidence is that they said so. You have the first time in history that the Iranian government and the Israeli regime both saying the same thing. And despite that, even now, it's not enough for the so-called journalists. I mean, Matt Getz, again, whatever, he's one of the better ones. I think that the journalists are in large part involved in basically what is happening in Iran. Their hands are soaked in the blood of innocent Iranian civilians. You have the perpetrators of this crime acknowledging that they were involved, and somehow their confession is not valid. And this is not the kind of confession that people can twist by saying, oh, these confessions were made under torture and severe conditions, they had to do this because of the fear of the life. No, this is another intelligence service in another country that bombed Iran, acknowledging that it was involved. But somehow when Iran says that we have found Israeli bullets in the bodies of the dead, somehow that's something controversial. And when you look at the face of Max Blumenthal, I'm not sure what goes through his head, but I can imagine that he's thinking, what are my options to respond to this question? Can I really mention the statements, the autopsy reports, the CT scans, or I don't know, MRI, whatever, pictures that are published by the Iranian government? Can I really mention them? Because once I do that, he's gonna just ignore them. He's just gonna say this is a mullah regime talking point. So he says that, the evidence is that they have said so. The perpetrators of the crimes, who weren't under any torture, bragged about this. They bragged about the crimes that they committed. And this is the tweet by the Australian university professor, Mr. Tim Anderson. Israeli military grade bullets, 7.63 millimeter bullets that are not used by the Iranian government, by the Iranian security forces, were found in the bodies of the Iranian children killed in the recent riots. This is what is happening. We have found NATO caliber bullets, we have found the Israeli caliber bullets, and the Israelis were bragging about being involved. So what would make this controversial? I don't really understand that. But again, yet another video, as you can see. I'm not gonna basically play each and every single video. There is not really any point to that. But again, another video published a few hours before the Pahlavi terrorist called to attack government and military centers on Thursday, January 8th, 2026. As you can see, he has placed some sort of sharp tool in front of him. It seems to be a knife, and he's playing with a knife or whatever in his hand. This text that is written in this white box in black font, it says ya mikoshimeshun ya taslim mishand. Either we kill them or they will surrender. And they came to the streets fully intending to kill the Iranian security forces. And yet another video. Let's watch this one because they actually shoot some bullets. I think that it is good to hear the sound.
نابودی حاکمیت آخوندی حاضر 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 ما زن و مرد جنگیم بجنگ تا بجنگیم حاضر 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 من آرش آتش جواب آتش تو دیکتاتور من آرش آتش جواب آتش آنها راه رهایی سلاح و سرنگونی آنها راه رهایی سلاح و سرنگونی راه رهایی سلاح و سرنگونی نابودی حاکمیت آخوندی حاضر.
Well, as you guys saw, they're holding military weapons, they're holding pistols, assault rifles, and they're basically saying that they're going to wage war against the Iranian security apparatus. My question is, what country, what government is going to allow people to carry out these acts of savagery and kill people, or portraying an image of the government that is weak and incapable of basically protecting its civilians? No country will allow people. Again, another tweet by Eli Afriat. I don't know how to read that name, but he basically says Iranian regime forces in Ilam province arrested the man pictured in this photo with a machete in the city of, I have never been in the city, I don't know how to pronounce its name, Lomer, I don't know how to pronounce it. Unfortunately, we all know what comes next. First of all, he's referring to the executions, but it's really confusing to me that he mentions the fact that this person had a machete in his hand. Like, why would you do it? We all have eyes, we can see that he's holding a machete. Why do you feel the need to mention that he has a machete in his hand? But that's the thing. Again, as I mentioned, the Israelis like to brag. The Israelis like to show that they're hostile, that they're strong, that they kill people. They like to do that. But at the same time, they like to basically play the victim card as well. And he says, unfortunately, we all know what comes next. No. I'm here to say that unfortunately, and I think that this might make me look bad, but this man is probably going to walk free. He's probably going to go to jail, but he might very well walk free because they have to prove that he has killed someone. You know, they have to prove that there is a video of him terrifying people or something. It's not really that easy. He might not be executed. Under certain circumstances, he might be executed. Let's be honest. But that's contingent upon the fact that Iranian government would be able to prove certain things, or the prosecutor would be able to basically argue that the country was in a war with another country, and the acts of and the basically portrayal of this man, not the portrayal of this man, the way that this man acted was to instill fear in the Iranian society. That's contingent upon a bunch of things, which this man might have very well done, but it's not as easy to say that this person is going to be executed. No. But yeah, it's very, again, this is I'm showing you these things, guys, so that you know, you're basically word for word seeing the Israeli propaganda against the Palestinians, this time being used against the Iranians. And, you know, shout out to Palestine Flip. She said, or he said, I don't know, they arrested the man with a what? So yeah, people are already asking questions. Another video, this person is saying that the protesters are armed. Let's see, it's just 5 seconds.
خبر خوب بدم به مردم. بچهای تو خیابون مسلحن.
She says that she has good news for the people. The guys in the streets are armed. The person, Hossein Sadeghi, he says, این حرفاشون که میگفتن ما مسلحیم, these words of them that they were saying that they are armed, you should basically post their videos, their words here, so that they wouldn't be able to convince people that they're the victim here. Yeah, so as you can see, they basically acknowledge the fact that they are armed. Again, yet another tweet, this time by Paran Sadat. She's mentioning that, she actually quoted this tweet. It says الان با تمام وجودم به مردم آمریکا که اسلحه دارن حسودیم میشه. Right now, I feel envious with every single cell in my body of the American people because of the fact that they have weapons, assault rifles. فاصله ما تا آزادی اسلحه بود. The only thing separating us from freedom was guns. And she says, نه دیگه نشد. No, that's not the case. You can't fool us, basically. اون روز که جولان میدادید میگفتین تو خیابان مسلحیم, the day that you were bragging about being armed in the streets, you had to think about this. You killed more than 2,000 innocent civilians. Now you can't play the victim card that we didn't have guns. به شما جانی ها نمیاد. No one believes these claims of you maniacs. And as you can see, this is a picture of people carrying out, being armed. Quick note here: this picture, allow me to change. I'm sorry. This picture seems to be generated by artificial intelligence. That's not the case. It is not generated by artificial intelligence. It is enhanced by artificial intelligence. This one I've seen not with my own eyes. I've seen the video of it, but unfortunately it's a little bit low quality. I try to find the actual video and basically edit it into the video, but right now, because of my internet and everything that I just told you guys about, bad internet connection, currently I'm missing that tab. And as you can see, I've prepared those videos in advance, so that I wouldn't have to play them. It takes rather long time. Right now, actually, it seems that my connection is fine, but yeah. This is another tweet. Muhammad Maliki says, this video is published by Vahid Online. Apparently, this account was purchased by the Israelis, apparently, and he says that this is Vahid says that this is a video of people being killed, people actually being shot at, but he forgets to edit the moment in the video clip, around 25 seconds into the video, that the person in the, I can say, I can click on the translation Google, but as you can see, it doesn't work, and unfortunately my my Twitter is in Spanish, so but it basically says that the video contains people being armed. This is the situation with the internet. Apologies. This is the picture of people being armed. Again, the same picture. This one is also very important. As you can see, the tweet is again by Mahdi Nikha. On Tuesday, January 6th, 2026, 2 days before the terrorist operation by Mossad affiliated agents in Iran, which began with the call of Raza Pahlavi. This video was published on an Instagram page belonging to armed terrorists. The terrorists wrote in the description of this video, "Message from the armed forces of the Eternal God," terrorist forces basically, of Rasht to the people of Gilan. On January 8th and 9th, 2026, these same terrorist elements entered protesters and launched an armed attack on law enforcement forces, innocent police stations and government centers. They then proceeded to kill innocent people by shooting blindly at people in order to increase the number of deaths. You can see this is a video of a man being in military equipment, whatever. The quality of the audio is actually quite bad because they have changed the voice so that it would be that they would protect the identity of this terrorist, but here it says پیام نیروهای مسلح گارد جاویدان رشت in the black box. The yellow text reads as that. It says message from Eternal Gods of Rasht, the armed forces, نیروهای مسلح گارد جاویدان. So they were bragging about being armed, but now they're playing the victim card that they're not armed. This one is really good as well. So this is a video showing people actually launching an attack on a precinct in Iran. Let's watch this. There you can hear the sounds of shots being fired by the terrorists.
همین که تیراندازی میکنه همکارا رو پشتون شهید میکنه با اسلحه‌اش. این چشمیش هم که با اسلحه
باشو بچه کجاست؟ آتیش زده بچه یه جا نمیده خودم بلند شد کی آدم بچه هاش دور اونجا این نفری که داریم الان میریم سراغش همون کسیه عامل اصلی به شهادت رساندن همکارمونه مسلح هست.
Okay, as you saw, guys, different moments in the video you saw. For example, in this, now you're seeing a person using a flamethrower on the security forces. They're burning the police officers. In this part of the video, you see a man with AK-47 with a Kalashnikov shooting at police officers. The police officer who is commenting in the video says that this man at this moment was basically the shots that he fired resulted in the death of the martyrdom of his colleague. Very clear, guys. Another video of the weapons confiscated by the rioters, as you can see. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, the cursor in the screen, but this sword here, I don't think that belongs to peaceful protesters. I don't think so. I don't think that you would need these long swords in order to peacefully protest against the police forces. Yeah, unfortunately the video was loaded, but it seems that now it doesn't play. Internet issues. Anyway, so as you can see, these people were armed. They acknowledge the fact that they are armed, But now, obviously, again, a hallmark of the Israeli propaganda. They have to play both the victim and the villain at the same time. But now I think that we acknowledge that these people were armed. Again, there are other videos. I'm not going to play all of them for you with
برای ایجاد رعب و وحشت و دلهره آفرینی از کلت کمر و وینچستر گرفته تا انواع قمه و شمشیر این مواد
Okay,
ابزار
as
برای
you,
دعا
okay, as you can see, different knives, different swords, video of people burning buses, different vehicles, different kinds of weapons. They're actually building Molotov cocktails. So these bottles that you are seeing, they're not beer or something like that. They're basically building Molotov cocktails. And they were arrested by the security forces, but only after creating scenes like this, unfortunately. And we have more pictures like this. We have more videos like this. I'm not gonna play each and every one of it for you guys, but this is another one. People burning and basically. I think that in this second, you can see this man with a Kalashnikov or some kind of assault rifle. I think it's Kalashnikov. So this another video of these people, shooting their assault rifles. Let's hear. I want you guys to really listen to the shots that are being fired. Okay, as you can see, this guy has a shotgun in his hand. This guy, again, I don't know if you guys see my cursor. This guy has a shotgun in his hand. The guy next to him, whom he later on received bullet from, he has an AK-47. They are chanting "Death to Khamenei." Another video. You have this tweet by Amin Mousavi. Basically, he is mentioning how these armed rioters are teaching people how to build Kalashnikovs. Not build Kalashnikov, apologies. Build a Molotov cocktail. You see him, this person, Serzan Egid. This under right next to the red bullet, he says "Nahve sakht cocktail Molotov," how to make Molotov cocktails, ingredients, and then he has censored the ingredients so as to not incite violence. Again, another tweet you see, incite of violence. It's very interesting because on American social media, in the terms and conditions of service, you see that they mention you cannot incite violence, but apparently it is accepted when it's violence against the Iranian security forces. Another video, this man is hammering on some person. I think that he seems to be wielding an axe in his hand. It's unfortunately the video is very foggy, and the quality is low, but it seems that he's wailing on this man with an axe. Not sure. This one wasn't really high quality. Another video, as you can see, burning streets, burning the police cars, throwing Molotov cocktails. This guy, as you can see, he's holding a Molotov cocktail and he's throwing it. So yeah, again, setting fire to the different buildings. Unfortunately, very common. So now I like to address another point in the entire thing. Let's see. Let's talk about the death tolls, right? So what is the first thing that you have to understand when you're going to basically investigate for yourself as to what number you're going to believe, what number you're going to take in as a possible number of the people who were killed during the protests? I think the first thing that you have to understand is that you shouldn't believe anything that comes from Iran International. It was this account Surah rightfully mentions that Iran International was founded and then funded by the Saudis. Later on, Saudis transferred the ownership of the channel to the Israelis. So now it is being run by Mossad. And you can see her actually, I think that what she did was really, really brilliant. She took the screenshot of Barak Ravid, who is this very important Israeli journalist, and he says, and the Mossad is using this media outlet quite regularly for its information war. And this was in response to Henry Rome, who said, bear in mind that this is an unconfirmed press report of Iranian effort to spin a deal for a conservative hardline audience. So read this with caution. And he's quoting an Iran International English tweet, right? And yeah, again, Barak Ravid later on says that this outlet is used by Mossad to regularly disseminate this information about Iran. So the first thing that you should bear in mind is that you should never believe what comes out of Iran International, because it is equivalent of you taking in Hasbara propaganda. That's the first thing that you should know. She has another tweet, very good one. I'm just gonna read her tweet. Very important 20k, 30k, 50k, 60k deaths. Who is the man behind these numbers? If you read Times carefully, she's referring to these articles. Allow me to... she's referring to this article by Time. He says that Time mentions the number 30,000 as of Friday, according to Dr. Amir Parasta. I think it's Amir Parasta. And then, Times itself says that they can't really methodically assign names to the dead. It says that it can't really independently verify these numbers. So Time is just basically saying that this is the number coming off this person, coming out of the mouth of this person. We don't know about it, and we can't really basically verify it, and Human Rights Activist News Agency, which is an American NGO, a cutout of CIA. It's funded by NED, National Endowment for Democracy. I think it's National Endowment for Democracy. might be wrong on this. Even they, as crazy as they are and as big of a liar as they are, they have only said that the number is 5,459 people who have been killed, and basically Time tries to basically avoid lawsuits and losing its credibility by saying that, oh, we can't independently verify this number. As you can see, this person has gone on Sima Sabet channel. I know that Sima Sabet was working for Iran International for, I don't know if she has been fired or not. I don't know if this was a program that was aired on Iran International, but bear in mind, again, this person is an Iranian working for the Zionist outlet. And then obviously you can see Professor Parasta in a picture on his Instagram. He published this himself, sitting next to Reza Pahlavi. What's even worse is this picture. So you go to his Instagram account, and right there, the first 3 images that are published shows him sitting or standing next to Reza Pahlavi, this clown prince of Iran. We call him clown prince, not crown prince, because he's just a joke. He hasn't worked a single day in his life. He receives an allowance from his mother. I've said this another time on in another video. This guy hasn't worked a single day in his life. There was this interview in which he was being asked this question. Do you work? He responded, no. The host asked again, well, does your wife work? To which he replied, no. So I think that at this moment, all of us have the same question. If neither you nor your wife work, then how do you make your living? And he responded by saying, mother helps. And how does his mother help? Well, she helps him with the money that they stole from Iranians when former Shah, the last Shah of Pahlavi dynasty, fled Iran. And we also have another joke about him and his father. We said that this was a dynasty that had 2 kings. They fled 3 times. I'm not kidding. Muhammad Reza, his father, the father of this clown, he fled twice. One time he fled before he fled the country, and then CIA and United Kingdom, they reinstated him in the coup d'etat in 1953 against Muhammad Mossad. And then obviously the second time he fled, and the revolution in Iran actually bore fruit, and we got rid of the Pahlavi dynasty. Again, mentioning the death toll, Lord Bebo says, claiming Iran has 300,000 casualties over a couple of days. Protest is insane. Ukraine, and he has his own reasons. 1, Ukraine war produces such casualties over multiple months. Gaza over 2 years. Iran would need twice as many hospital beds to treat them all, assuming all beds were empty. Like, if you consider that Iran, not having its usual number of patients, they need to double the amount of hospital beds to actually treat this many people. So the number that they come up with is not logical. And to expand upon what he says, the death toll isn't logical either. You see, the Iranian autopsy center, we call it پزشکی قانونی, right? Let me see. Okay, we call it پزشکی قانونی. this is the center, this is a government organization that basically examines every dead body that has died due to suspicious reasons. By the Iranian law, anyone, absolutely anyone, who is killed and the reason behind their death is suspicious, they have to be examined by this body, پزشکی قانونی. It's like the autopsy, but I don't know how to mention it, but they have a lot of coroners and they carry out investigations. In a year, they examine roughly around 50,000 bodies. 50,000 bodies. For these people to claim that 30,000 people have been killed, because they say 30,000 people have been killed, 300,000 people have been injured. 30,000 would mean that this body, the Iranian morgue slash autopsy slash coroner's office slash پزشک قانونی, whatever you want to call them, they have to work around the clock. Anyone who mentions that Iran has 30,000 number of people killed during the protests should also mention something else. They should also talk about mass graves, but they don't do that because this is a lazy propaganda. And once you start, digging deep into the story, you see the many flaws surrounding the propaganda. Let's see if I can see this again. Ryan Grimm says the similar thing, claiming that 350,000 people were wounded in the Iranian protest, that they were all treated in the hospitals, is completely insane. Printing that figure is utterly absurd. This tweet is by Sana Saeed. I mean, these are the people who work in the human rights industrial complex. These people basically, they live like leeches, like parasites. Your government pays these people money in order to disseminate lies about their own government, while you are dealing with the rising living costs in your country. These people absolutely contribute nothing to the society. They disseminate lies that are very dangerous because they can place your country in a situation that it would take military actions against Iran, and consequently result in the death of the American soldiers, the European soldiers, if NATO decides to get involved around people. But Sana Saeed, against, I think, I'm not sure that if Sana Saeed is, it says that in this article, LBC, this is an article published by LBC, but as crazy as this is, even she said that no sources provided. This is extremely crazy. Numbers are political. She's absolutely right in this regard. David Miller has a tweet about HRANA. This is a cutout for CIA. This is funded by National Endowment for Democracy. Again, a CIA cutout. The number that they came up with, absolutely no source whatsoever. Completely a political number. And this is the way that they disseminate the propaganda. It's just one lie after another. The propaganda is very clear. The way that they lie, the way that they generate these lies is like you pushing a button to generate a random number. And the reason that they do this is very simple, actually. Very simple as to why they are doing this. Let me mention as to why they are doing this. Yes. Okay. So you see Sky News in this tweet. Let me change the screen. Okay. What is happening in Iran is 90 million people stuck in the world's biggest concentration camp. Well, I thought that Gaza is the largest concentration camp in the world. But no, Israel is inflating the numbers in order to, one, whitewash the crimes that they committed in Gaza. So that's their first objective. The second objective that they have is that if they can raise the number of dead people, I mean not dead people, people who were killed during the riots, they can advocate for a military invasion of Iran, which is the wet dream of Benjamin Netanyahu. This is the final war on the list of 7 countries that were mentioned by General Wesley Clark. I'm not sure if I'm getting the name correctly, but yeah, basically they are doing that. And this is a propaganda. It's very important for everyone to understand what this propaganda is about. Let me slightly move this scene. Yeah, okay. As you can see, this is an article by Haaretz. It says the Israeli influence operation aiming to install Reza Pahlavi as Shah of Iran. When we tell you guys that Pahlavi scumbag, this clown prince, is being basically pushed on Iran by the Israeli Hasbara, by the Israeli propaganda force. We're not kidding, and we're not the only ones who say this. As I mentioned, Haaretz, an Israeli outlet, actually corroborates the statements that we made. Let me see. Okay, this is another tweet which I think is very important. If you guys look at the tweets of this clown prince, Reza Pahlavi, and if you carry out a very simple analysis on the number of likes and views that he has received in 2 different dates, during the month of November 2025, so this is roughly 2 months ago, he would receive around 50 to 20,000 likes on his each post. You know, on average 17.5 likes, 17.5k likes, and somewhere around 300,000 to 1 million views on each post. This is on Twitter, by the way, guys. Interestingly enough, by the way, this number is completely fake too. You know, most of these people are just, I mean, most of this is just the effect of bots, the Hasbara, and they come out of Israel, right? But then again, interestingly enough, in January 2026, exactly the time that, for example, I, as the person who is being accused by many people, as you know, the mouthpiece of the mullah regime, I didn't have any access to the internet. Interesting, there was nationwide blackout. Interestingly, not only Pahlavi's posts didn't receive fewer likes and views. Actually, his engagement increased. It went through the roof. He would receive 50k to 95k likes on his tweets, and his views went from, again, 300,000 to 1.7 million people on minimum, all the way to 6 million people at most. How did this happen during the time that there was a freaking blackout in my country? How? And again, we mention all these things for you guys to understand that this movement, what happened inside Iran, they admitted that they are involved. Not only they were involved, but I'm referring to them being present in the field. But they also admitted that they carry out propaganda aspect of it. Haaretz published an article about it. And also there is this tweet by Emily Schrader. I can't seem to be finding it at the moment. But Emily Schrader mentioned that she's a part of Unit 8200, which is the propaganda arm of the Israeli regime to disseminate disinformation against Iran and the axis of resistance in general. They mentioned that they are carrying out their propaganda for the Israeli regime. All in all, this is rather dumb in a way. If you believe, you can't be, let me put it this way, you can't be in favor of Palestine and believe this nonsense, because that means that you have learned absolutely nothing from the past 2 years of massacre and genocide in Palestine. You have learned nothing, because you still keep falling for the same propaganda that is disseminated by Hasbara, by the Israeli regime. How are people supposed to think that you are serious about supporting Palestine? There are other things that I would have liked to talk about. For example, I've prepared a few tabs. This is a very famous video of a person whose son was killed during the riots. His mom, I'm not going to show you guys the video. Just know that you can find it at the tweet is available in the account at ADINEHAN. You guys can go and click on the translate button. Mine is in Spanish, unfortunately. So you will not be able to see the English translation. And if you know Farsi, basically the mother says, my son used to read Quran. The father basically picks out a card out of his pocket and says, I'm an active member of Basij. His father is a member of Basij organization. And when he says that I'm an active member of Basij, you have to understand, being active is not literal. When you say you're an active member of Basij, it doesn't mean that you're actively involved. It means that you have worked so much that you have gone from normal grade, the normal rank, to the rank of active people. Active here is a name of a rank rather than being literal, right? So he's not an ordinary Basiji. He's a basically an active one, a special one. Again, in these death tolls, you see many people who later on turn out to be alive. So, for example, this guy is called Saeed Riazi. The right screenshot, the right picture, the picture in the right that you see, is one of these outlets that basically put the picture and the name of the person and say that these people are killed. Right beside his name, the post says 686th person killed, Saeed Riazi. And this is his friend who says Saeed فوتی شماره 686. Saeed, the person killed with the number of 686 in anti-Iranian channels, was actually present in the university today, and he was taking an exam. And this is how his friends were, joking around with him about him being dead. You can see the video at the left. Again, you have this person, this tweet by, let me change the screen. This tweet by Hassan Mafi, great account for you guys to follow. He says, breaking the mullah regime resurrects another killed Iranian protester. So even though that they lie and their numbers are inflated, even the people whom they talk about being dead, they are alive, and they have to resort to these tactics. They find pictures of people on social media, and again, this is the same people. Look, he's being interviewed by the Iranian outlet, the Iranian state-owned media, and he says that they are saying that I'm dead. I'm not. Yeah, this is the same person that they were saying that he is killed. Again, so the lies, they lie about the number of people dead. They claim high numbers without any proof. The pictures that you see online, some of them belong to people who are actually alive. And I was going to show you guys a few tweets and videos about the kind of crimes that they committed. But since this video has become too long, I think that I'm not going to show a bunch of these videos. In a way, it's a shame, but I think that you guys are probably bored of watching this video by now. This person, I don't know who he is, but he has, his handle is Warren Show. Since I saw him doing a good job of mentioning the number of people being killed, I thought that maybe he deserves a shout out. Iran's brutal regime, 305 ambulances and buses were set on fire. Ambulances. These protesters set fire to the ambulances. It's your choice at this moment whether you're going to support these people or not. If you're one of those people like Jonas Varoufakis, who comes out with this broad statement that, oh, you know, you can't be against United States, but you also can be against the Iranian regime, and not understanding that, and saying that, oh yeah, okay, people are angry, and not even addressing that 305 ambulances, buses were burned by these people, even not acknowledging, not mentioning that. It's clear what you are doing. You know, I say that people, there are two kinds of neoconservatives. You have two kinds of neocons. One category is basically people, is made up of people like Lindsey Graham, the respectable neocons. Yeah, I'm saying that Lindsey Graham is a respectable neocon. You know why? Because at least he is honest. He is not shying away from owning up the fact that he's a scumbag and he wants to see countries destroyed. That's Lindsey Graham. There is also another kind of neocon, whom I call a hypocrite neocon. It's the kind of guy who says, oh no, you know, we don't really support war, but at the same time we're not going to do anything with regards to debunking the same kind of propaganda that mimics the propaganda, for example, of the propaganda that was disseminated before attack on Iraq. You remember Colin Powell holding that vial in his hand and saying that, oh, you know, Iraq has weapons of mass destruction, they have chemical agents, whatever. Again, 24 gas stations, 700 convenience stores. I have video of that. They burned one of those. They didn't burn it, they destroyed it in city of Jahram, for example. 300 private homes. Why would you go and burn civilian homes? Why would you go and do that? I think I actually have a video of that. I'm gonna see if I can find it, because I think that this one is important. Okay, yeah, let me mute this. Okay, as you can see, the people, these so-called peaceful protesters, they actually go and set this building on fire and then they enter this house and they burn this car. You might remember I talked about Wagon of Death, Pride. This car that belongs to people who are basically poor. You know, if you drive that car, you're not wealthy. You're also suffering from the bad economy. But look, they set this on fire. They set the car on fire. So egregious crimes being committed by these people. 600 ATMs, 15 libraries. Is this the kind of revolution that you want to support? People burning libraries? Seriously? Burning libraries? Yeah, because libraries are tools of oppression by the Iranian mullah regime. You know, through books, they're going to kill people. Just, there were probably chemical agents within those books. Just non-stop propaganda. 749 police stations, 414 government buildings, 200 schools. I don't even know what to say. Like, if you think that it is acceptable for people to burn schools, what can I say to you? What kind of argument can I make in order to convince you that this is not a movement that you want to support? A movement that burns libraries, that burns schools. What can I say to you? You know, I think that I have a tweet about this. This person, Mustafa Wusokhia, he said, I don't know why he said she. کتابخانه شهر بروجن, the library in Burujan city, dating back to at least 5 decades ago, holding 1,200,000 books, was just destroyed. Just destroyed. In the city of Surshajan, 30,000 books were burnt. 17,000 books were burned in the library in the city of Zarne of Elam. And he actually, I can't really agree with him more than the last sentence that he wrote. کتاب سوزی اغتشاشگر آدم را یاد حمله مغول می اندازد. This is burning the libraries, burning the books, is reminiscent of this sad era in Iranian history, the Mongol invasion of the Iranian, the ancient Iran, in which they burned the library of Khwarazm. In the city of Khwarazm, Iran had this very, very advanced, very invaluable library, and the Mongols, they simply burned it. So we're getting nostalgic, basically, not nostalgic, we're getting deja vu, and it's not the nice kind of deja vu. It's the kind that makes you really scared. They burned cities. This is the convenience store that I mentioned. Look, they go there, they start destroying it. Why? Why would you go and destroy a grocery store? And finally, I think that this is, to wrap this section up, the section about the kind of horrible crimes that they committed. This is a good one to end on with. This is the account of Mamlekate. It's a very famous pro-regime change account, very famous one. This is not a psyop by the Iranian government. It's an account that was used for the longest time to incite violence in Iran. Ali Alizadeh, who is this famous Iranian YouTuber, he's a leftist, he's an anti-imperialist. He actually retweeted this, the code tweeted this, and translated the tweet. I'm going to just read the first two sentences. They caught a Basij member who had been beating people in the Zainabiyeh area of Isfahan. No. That's what they claim. Standing up to the rioters is not beating ordinary Iranians. But anyway, listen to what they did to him. Tied him to a utility pole, cut off his genitalia, and stuffed it into his mouth. Even if we can all agree that the Iranian regime, mullah regime, whatever, it has to go, do you think that rape, murder, torture is justifiable? Do you really think like that? Do you think that the end justifies the means? Do you think so? Do you think that? Do you think so? Unfortunately, this is the kind of violent, savage act that is being justified by people. In Khomeini Shah, they set fire to the Meshkat seminary. 2 clerics were killed, and 5 security agents were also killed. I really encourage you guys to go to Ali Alizadeh account and basically read this entire tweet. It's very sad. And by the way, he has quoted the original tweet as well. So if you don't trust his translation, well, the good news is that you can go and use the translate button of the X, Twitter, whatever, and you can see the translation for yourself. Look at this. This is a video of them setting a fire truck on fire. Is the fire truck a tool of oppression by the Iranian security force? You might find it interesting that yes, they actually claim this. There are now people online who claim that when you tell them, why do you burn mosques? Why do you burn schools? Why do you burn libraries? The same way that the Israelis were saying that, oh, this facility was being used by Hamas, they do the same thing. They say the same thing. They say that these were headquarters of Basij. These facilities were used by the security force. This is word for word, not word by word, the propaganda that you saw in Palestine, that by the Israeli regime when they were carrying out their massacre of the Palestinian people. So what I ask you guys to do is that all you have to do in order to debunk this very weak propaganda is to think, well, how can we do this? How can we debunk this propaganda? All you have to do is to think that, okay, this is an Israeli propaganda, and then it becomes clear as to what angle they're trying to pull. You see many similarities about the propaganda here and the ones that the Israelis were using. And again, especially because of the fact that the Israelis are literally holding this propaganda. I mentioned how the Israelis were using bots in order to promote Pahlavi tweets. You have Haaretz articles, again, all those kind of stuff. And we have reached to the end of the video. I'm just going to mention a few things and basically wrap this video up. Thank you if you guys are still watching. Thank you guys for making it to this part of the video. Again, please consider liking and sharing this video. Share this video with your friends. I tried to document some of the things that I saw online and during the life, the daily life. I tried to not really talk based on my own experience, but rather using tweets that are available online in order to tell you guys how the situation is, so that you would see it rather than just listening to my voice and basically accepting these things. Again, this is another tweet of mine. Let's see. Yeah. So I tweeted this: Palestine Action is a proscribed group in UK, but setting police officers on fire using Molotov cocktail. It has been way too long for me, and I'm starting to speak improperly. But yeah, setting police officers in Iran is peaceful protest. Unfortunately, the hypocrisy is very clear, and let's see the video. Allow me to mute my microphone. Well, as you saw, he was standing apart from his friends, at a distance from his friends. He wasn't punching anyone, he wasn't doing anything. And a so-called peaceful protester basically threw a Molotov cocktail at him. This is okay. Seeing scenes like this is a tweet by Persian Girl. I highly suggest that you guys go and give her a follow if you're interested in hearing the Iranian woman's perspective on basically different political affairs, different political developments. This is the side-by-side comparison of what happened in the United States and in Iran. The one in the left is considered to be a terrorist. The one in the right is a peaceful protester, so-called peaceful protester. Let's see. As you can see, he's holding a shotgun in his hand. I think that let me see. Yeah, you can clearly see the shotgun in his hand. Completely peaceful in Iran, yet somehow an unarmed woman being killed by ICE is completely okay in the United States. Stephen Miller says that a would-be assassin tried to murder federal law enforcement, and the official Democratic account sides with the terrorists. So, I think his name was Michael Pretty, who was killed by CPB custom. I forgot what it stands for. But yeah, despite the fact that you can hold gun in United States, change the law. If you're not happy with people carrying out arms, change the law, but you can't call people terrorists when they haven't even used their gun. But Stephen Miller, in his country, uses the term terrorist for a person who didn't do anything violent. He was defending a woman. Again, the hypocrisy knows no end. Mario Nawfal. I don't know what happened to this guy. I didn't like him to begin with, but now he has gone completely insane. Watch this clip. Protesters walking up to a pickup truck and grabbing pre-printed signs like they're picking up supplies for a company picnic. None of this is spontaneous. Really? Tell me more about these pre-printed signs, Mario Nawfal, because it seems that the Iranian mullah regime is really trying to... who cares about Mossad admission of guilt? Who cares about Mike Pompeo's statement? Who cares about Party Azadi Kurdistan, the Kurdish terrorist forces, acknowledging that they carried out. But tell me about these pre-printed signs, because they seem to be acts of the terrorists. This scumbag goes around and makes anything about the Iranian government ominous. But at the same time, he is agitated, he's provoked by pre-printed signs. God, I don't know what to say. I'm gonna say one thing. I think that if you guys don't stand up to these propaganda, sooner or later, they're going to affect you as well. If you don't do anything when your government is oppressing people like me, telling lies about the Iranian government, sooner or later they will do the same thing to you guys. And as bad as I might seem, you might think that I'm horrible, but on that day I don't think that I would have that much empathy for you. And I think that at that moment you can kind of understand that you did this to yourself. This guy, Nima Heydarian, he tagged Nima Tavalai Rutsari. He is an Iranian journalist. I think that he covers sport, but fortunately or unfortunately he supports the right of Iranian people for self-determination. He is pro-Islamic Republic of Iran, and that's why this person has said to him that we know you, traitor. And he has filed this. He hasn't filed anything, but he has basically tagged the Rice University. Dear Rice University, I believe this person is one of your associates / employees, is threatening journalists with physical violence, part of your values and principles taught at your establishment. You don't understand. This is how these people behave in your country, not in mine, in your country. This is how blatant they are with regards to the disgusting, vile acts of violence that they want to carry. They go out and threaten people. Go and threaten people. Let me see if I can. Okay, this is how the London police treated these protesters inside UK. Yeah, you can see that this is police in London. Interestingly enough, the crackdown on the Iranian refugees, protesters, whatever, in London was actually more severe than the crackdown of the Iranian government of the so-called protesters. And see how they treated them. The people in the police force, the UK regime, the US regime, they don't even tolerate these people on their own soil, not protesting against their country, protesting against a country that is an enemy to their country. This is how they treated them. But then, they go out and say that the way that the Iranian government handled these terrorists, these rioters, is undemocratic. You see, and this is again the proximity, the fact that these videos are coming out of Iran and United States at the same time is very important, because you can't really claim that you don't know what's going on. See what J.D. Vance says about United States.
Right now we're focused on Minneapolis because that's where we have the highest concentration of people who have violated our immigration laws, and that's also, frankly, where we see the most assault of our law enforcement officers. I mean, our plan is very simple. If you assault a federal law enforcement officer, we're going to do everything that we can to put you in prison. It's very simple. And most of these protesters, as much as I may disagree with their politics, most of them have been peaceful, but a lot of them have not been peaceful. And if you go...
When he says that most of these protests have been peaceful, but many of them haven't been peaceful, I want you to understand that any act or acts of violence that you see in United States or UK is a freaking joke in comparison to what we see in Iran. I just talked to you guys about people's genitalia being mutilated and chopped by the rioters. I talked to you guys about torture, about burning people. Look at this guy. I don't know what his name is. It's like, I don't know. I don't really care about these people enough to learn their name. I'm sorry, maybe this is unprofessional of me, but look at what he's.
You're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired, because we are going to run you down and put you in jail.
Sorry, bad internet connection. Yeah, I'm going to try to find the video of Sheriff Judd Grady sitting in front of Patrick Bet-David, because Patrick Bet-David is a monarchist who supports the violence in Iran. But he sits in front of Judd Grady and says, you shot this person 50 times, 60 times or whatever, and you said that the only reason that you didn't shoot him more was due to the fact that he ran out of bullets. And he does this with a smile on his face, with a grin from one ear to another. I think that I've talked about different things. I tried to basically address different talking points that you guys hear online. I'm sure that there are many more things that you have questions about. There are many other things that I could have talked about, many more videos that I had on my slides and on my Twitter that I wanted to show you guys, but I think that this video has gone on for long enough. Honestly, I would be surprised if any of you guys make it to the end, but this was for the sake of documenting some of the atrocities done by the Israeli regime, by the US regime, by the rioters and the colluders who work with their enemy that bombed their country in order to disrupt the peace of ordinary people in Iran. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed the show. Again, it would really help me if you guys can share the video, like, subscribe, comment underneath this video, anything to basically help this video go up in the algorithm. And if you don't really like this video, or if you don't want to, basically the format of the show, or you don't like my voice, anything, please feel free to use the material that is available in this video and post it on your own social media, so that more and more people would hear about this truth. There is this sentence or quote by Julian Assange, I don't remember it verbatim, but he basically says, if wars can be started with lies, then they can also be prevented and ended with the truth. And this is merely what I ask you guys to do. Fight disinformation with good information. Stay safe, and until the next time, bye.